I swear, you've never noticed how differently trucks roam the world. It's not just style. Japanese and American trucks are built for totally different roads, rules, and lifestyles. Here's why. And here's where it gets weird. Just look at them side by side. In the US, big rigs dominate the highway like kings of the asphalt. Long hoods stretching forward, massive sleeper cabs packed with everything a driver could need for days on the road. These trucks scream power and comfort, every inch of metal built for long, straight runs under endless skies. Now flip over to Japan, and it's a whole different story. Trucks are compact, cab-over designs where the cab sits right on top of the engine. They're short, maneuverable, and perfectly tailored for narrow streets and urban chaos. At first glance, it seems like style, maybe just a preference. But dig a little deeper, and it's all about rules, road width, and how the trucks are actually used. So yeah, that first impression, it's just scratching the surface. You're seeing decades of engineering shaped by the way people live and work. And speaking of living on the road, this is where American trucks really shine. Most US drivers aren't just commuting, they're living inside these machines for days, sometimes weeks. Owner-operators haul across states, from New York to California, chasing loads and paying rent from the seat of their cab. So naturally, the trucks evolved around that lifestyle. You'll find sleeper cabs stacked with fridges, microwaves, bunks so wide you could actually stretch out, and storage everywhere you look. It's basically a tiny apartment on wheels, designed to make life easier when your office has 18 wheels and a steering wheel. And this isn't just guesswork. Data from the Bureau of Transportation Statistics shows the majority of US freight runs cover hundreds of miles in a single day. Long-haul culture drives the whole design philosophy: comfort, storage, and smooth rides. Every inch of that long hood and massive sleeper exists because someone needed a place to sleep, eat, and rest while still keeping the wheels rolling. Can you imagine living in one of these for a week straight? What would your cab look like? But flip the map to Japan, and the rules and roads flip with it. Here, trucks aren't roaming endless highways. They're darting through crowded city streets, weaving between tight corners, slipping down narrow rural mountain roads. Space is precious. Every meter counts. So Japanese trucks are built completely differently. Cab-over designs dominate because the cab sits on top of the engine, letting manufacturers stretch the cargo area to the maximum without increasing overall length. The trucks are short, nimble, and insanely maneuverable. You're talking precision-engineered machines built for urban jungles, not wide-open highways. Vehicle size regulations also force the hand of designers. Width, height, and length are tightly controlled, so you can't just make a giant long-nose rig and hope it fits. Instead, the cab-over setup packs the payload efficiently, keeps the truck legal, and lets it handle streets that would be nightmares for a conventional US rig. Every time a delivery gets squeezed around a corner or a truck backs perfectly into a loading dock, that cab-over design proves why it exists. Tight space, short trip, maximum efficiency. Have you ever tried fitting a big vehicle into a tiny street? Yeah, Japanese truck drivers live like that every day. And here's where it gets really fascinating. Size actually matters. In Japan, every centimeter counts. The government sets strict limits on truck width, height, and overall length for standard roads. Oversized? You're breaking the law. Simple as that. So truck makers had to get creative. Enter the cab-over design. By putting the cab on top of the engine, they free up precious space for cargo without making the truck any longer. Every extra centimeter means another box, another pallet, another delivery completed legally and efficiently. It's like squeezing the most out of a Tetris board, and Japanese engineers are masters at it. This isn't just about fitting in narrow streets, it's about working within the law while maximizing profits and efficiency. Regulations literally shape the truck's DNA: short, compact, and agile. One glance at a Japanese cab-over, and you see the government's fingerprints all over it. Now flip back to the US, and the story takes a sharp turn. Back in the day, many states had strict overall length limits for trucks, which made cab-over tractors practical. They fit the rules, fit the roads, and got the job done. But as federal and state laws loosened, the game changed. Suddenly, longer tractors plus trailers were allowed. And with that, the industry shifted fast toward conventional, long-nose rigs. Why? because more hood meant more space for living, sleeping, and stretching out. Absolute gold for drivers on multi-day hauls across wide-open interstates. The long hood also makes for a smoother ride at high speeds. Cab-overs, once king of the road, started falling out of favor simply because they weren't as comfortable on extended highway runs. They still exist, but mostly in specialized or urban work, while the long-nose design dominates the long-haul scene. And here's the kicker: speed and comfort. On America's endless interstates, a long-nose rig isn't just style, it's physics. A longer wheelbase means better stability at high speeds, less wobble, and a smoother ride over miles of asphalt. Aerodynamics also matter. A sleek hood cuts wind, saves fuel, and makes life a little easier for drivers spending hours behind the wheel. Japan, on the other hand, doesn't need that. Speed limits are lower, trips are shorter, and roads twist and turn. The payoff from a long hood is minimal, and maneuverability wins every time. That's why cab-over designs remain practical, efficient, and downright perfect for their environment. So when you see a US rig hammering down a highway at 70 miles per hour, or a Japanese truck threading through a tight alley, you're witnessing design tuned to extremes. It's comfort, efficiency, and safety, all dictated by where and how these trucks operate. And here's where things get practical: safety and maintenance. Cab-over trucks give drivers a killer view of the road. You can see corners, pedestrians, and tight alleyways like never before. That tight turning radius? Life-saving in cities. But there's a catch. Crash energy has to be managed differently. The cab itself is reinforced to absorb impact because there's no long hood to act as a crumple zone. Conventional US trucks play a different game. The long hood doubles as a buffer in a collision, while the cab behind it stays relatively protected. Plus, accessing the engine is easier for repairs and inspections, which matters when you're covering thousands of miles on long interstate hauls. Different environments, different priorities. Urban streets demand visibility and agility, while open highways reward comfort, stability, and predictable crash protection. The trucks are designed around where they operate, not just how they look. And let's talk dollars and cents. Trucks don't just follow roads, they follow regulations, taxes, and inspections. Different countries have different rules about weight, axle loads, and vehicle inspections, and that shapes which trucks are profitable. Shorter rigs, like Japan's cab-overs, can legally carry maximum payloads while staying within strict size limits. They're efficient, economical, and perfect for short-haul deliveries. Meanwhile, the US lets trucks stretch longer, carry big loads, and cruise across states, making conventional long-nose rigs the better business choice for long hauls. Every decision, length, cab layout, engine placement, is influenced by these economics. It's not just engineering, it's business strategy. Manufacturers and operators pick designs that maximize efficiency, legality, and profit. The trucks reflect local rules, taxes, and the realities of the roads they dominate. And here's where the design really hits the numbers. Japanese cab-over trucks are all about squeezing every centimeter for cargo. By sitting the cab on top of the engine, designers can stretch the cargo area to the max while staying within strict road limits. Every extra box counts. Deliveries stay legal, efficient, and profitable. American long-nose rigs play a different game. They sacrifice a bit of cargo space up front for driver comfort and stability. The hood eats some room, sure, but it provides a smoother ride over thousands of miles and a bigger sleeper for living on the road. In practice, that means a Japanese delivery truck might pack tightly for city streets, dropping off loads quickly and efficiently, while an American rig moves larger shipments across states, keeping the driver rested and the cargo safe over long distances. It's a trade-off, perfectly tuned to each environment. And speaking of efficiency, fuel plays a huge role. Japanese cab-overs are lighter and built for stop-and-go urban runs. The compact design and nimble chassis save fuel in city traffic, where constant braking and acceleration are the norm. Every liter counts when deliveries are short but frequent. Meanwhile, American long-nose trucks are built for highways. Their long hoods and aerodynamically shaped cabins cut through the wind at 60 to 70 miles per hour, improving fuel efficiency over thousands of miles. They're heavier, yes, but the design rewards long-distance cruising with smoother airflow and better stability. So road type and speed dictate environmental performance. A cab-over might shine in a Tokyo alley, but waste fuel on a US interstate. Conversely, a long-nose rig would be overkill in a narrow Japanese street, but dominate on Route 66. Truck design is literally shaped by the road itself. And here's the human side. Drivers shape trucks just as much as rules do. Japanese drivers favor maneuverability above all. Tight city streets, narrow mountain roads. Drivers need trucks that respond instantly, that don't feel like giant steel beasts. Cab-overs fit that world perfectly. American drivers value comfort and space. Living in the cab for days or weeks requires bunks, kitchens, and storage. Long-nose rigs give them that lifestyle, and the stability of a longer wheelbase makes life on the interstate a little less exhausting. Imagine the daily grind, a Tokyo driver threading through 10-foot wide alleys versus a US trucker watching the horizon roll by for hours, stopping only to sleep and eat. Cultural preferences and lifestyle aren't minor details. They're embedded in the DNA of every truck on the road. Which environment would you prefer to drive in? The city tightrope or the endless highway? So here's the bottom line. Japan's trucks, compact roads, strict size limits, and short urban hauls. Cab-over designs win every time. Tight, maneuverable, and engineered to fit every centimeter of street space. US trucks, long interstates, long-haul living culture, and relaxed length regulations. Long-nose conventionals dominate. Spacious, aerodynamic, and designed for comfort over thousands of miles. Neither is better. They're just tuned to their environment. One thrives in crowded city streets. The other rules the open highway. And that's what makes them so fascinating. Trucks as reflections of culture, law, and daily life. So which style would you take for your next journey? The nimble Japanese cab-over or the beastly American long-nose? Drop your pick in the comments. We're curious to see which one wins your vote. Thanks for sticking around. Japanese cab-over trucks and American long-nose rigs show how rules, roads, and culture shape design. Want more deep dives into fascinating machines and why they work the way they do? Hit like, subscribe, and tell us, which truck would you drive if you could choose?